What's up, and welcome to the Los Wise Guys podcast. I am your host, Eslam, aka Rod, God of the Sun, accompanied by Dan, Papa Sun Killer, and
Hey
Dan,
yo,
Emperor Disco. How's it going, fellas?
what's up? What's going on? How you doing?
You Islam.
That's right. Ayo, Eslam. Ayo, Dan. Ayo, Adrian. Listen, we about to rank the Rocky movies after we review Creed 3. All
Yep.
right. Now, Dan, this has been a passion project of yours for, I think,
Years, years,
years. Yeah,
years.
you've brought it up to us like I think a year and a half to 2 years ago,
hmm
and it took us this long to get to it. But
Yeah.
it ended up being perfect timing. Creed 3 was coming out, and we were like, it's time to do this topic. And please take over.
Yeah, man. No, it's just the Rockies. For those of you that don't know, if you're watching on YouTube, where you can just type in Los Wise Guys, or if you're on Twitch.tv/Los Wise Guys, or if you're checking it out on the LosWiseGuys.com website, you already clicked on, you already know what the topic is. But in case you somehow missed it, we are ranking all the Rocky and the Creed movies. We are reviewing Creed 3, like Islam said, and the Rocky franchise might be my favorite franchise. Um, Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's I've been watching them since like birth. I grew up watching. I think Rockies 1 through 5 every day, every weekend for like the first couple years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I still watch all the movies regularly. I'm just a huge fan of the franchise. So I've been wanting to rank these since way before the podcast existed.
Yeah, I'm excited to
And
hear your rankings
me too. I
since
can't
it's
wait to
been
find out
known
what that
on the
is.
podcast that you hate Rocky 4.
Yeah.
So it's going to
Do
be
Yeah.
you
really
Exactly.
do you
Yeah.
interesting.
wake up to Eye of the Tiger?
You know what? You want to quick? Do you think that's my favorite Rocky song?
I think it's the trumpets that.
It's actually No Easy Way Out from Rocky 4.
Ah, man,
It's a
you know
great.
this guy's invested. He got the soundtrack on lock too. He's like,
Yeah, no, I actually do have that on my Spotify. I listen to that regularly.
Damn.
Um, yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of the franchise, so very excited to do it. I'm
I
glad
don't
you
think
guys
I have
did
a
it.
franchise that I'm this invested in like you.
Yeah,
Even DC, like I love DC, but I don't I me I guess other than Batman.
Star Wars.
No, not like this, not this level of depth that you feel for.
'Cause
There
I
are no
like Star Wars
soundtrack.
almost as much as this. Like I like I'm a big movie guy, so it's like I
Yeah,
enjoy movie franchises. Rocky's up there, Star Wars is up there as well. Lord
sure,
of the
but
Rings is
like
there.
the level of love I think you have for these, I don't think I have it for like any franchise. Maybe the Batman's,
Mhm.
just maybe the
Yeah, me
Batman as a
too.
character. But other than that, I don't think I have anything else that like I feel so strongly about.
Mhm.
I agree, especially like at this stage of my life. I don't have a franchise. Like the closest I ever got was The Matrix. When that first movie came out, I like remembered all the words and I was like front and back. I knew Matrix, but I never had anything else that came close where like I want to rewatch it. I want to know everything. But kudos to you because we need more passion like that. Especially
Thank you.
a bunch of it's nice when you get people passionate about stuff. So I'm curious and I'm very excited to hear what you got to say because
Yeah. Like I was telling you guys before we started recording, I'm gonna hate this episode. I'm gonna hate it
Yeah.
with all my heart. I'm gonna hate your guys' opinions. I'm gonna hate my opinion. Anybody who comments, I'm gonna hate their opinions. I can't help it. That's just as a fan of the franchise, that's what I do.
I can't
Nice.
wait to piss you off.
Yep.
Oh, I'm definitely. Dan might punch me in the face today.
Yeah.
Dan might take. Dan literally might cash in his calf slaps and take both my calves. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna get this wild in here.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot.
it's
Are you
gonna be
ready
fun. I
to
can't wait.
yeah,
Yeah, let's jump into Creed 3, man.
let's do it.
Creed 3,
Let's
the
do it.
review. Boy, oh boy. Creed 3, if you have not seen it yet, that's fucking sucks for you because it was a great goddamn movie.
Yeah.
Um, so without the way we usually do reviews is we give a small non spoiler of like how we felt about the movie, what we liked about it, without getting into too much nitty gritty details, and then we go into a spoiler review. So with that said, I'll go first because I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. My God, shout outs to the writers, which were um, Keenan Keenan Coogler, Zach Balin, and Ryan Coogler, and shout outs to director Michael B. Jordan for his. I don't know if this is his directing debut.
It is.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is. Okay. So this was his directing debut, and he did a phenomenal job. This movie, what I really loved about it, and it was a different boxing movie, and the reason I think why it was a different boxing movies and Michael Jordan, Michael B. Jordan.
Well,
Yeah,
you're
I
not
was right.
wrong. You're
It's
not
still
wrong.
Michael Jordan.
Okay, I was like,
Can you imagine the real like basketball Jordan in there just crossing up Mike
Okay.
Jonathan
As a matter of
Majors?
fact, I directed this, guys.
oh man. Okay, so Michael B. Jordan.
Mm. Not Michael A. Jordan.
Yeah.
Go continue. Space
So,
Jam 2 reference.
um, God, I forgot what I was saying.
His directorial debut.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
So one of the reason why I thought this movie was a different type of boxing movie, and Michael B. Jordan was talking about this, and he wanted to pull this off, so he used anime, and he used the the fighting choreography of anime, the emotional drivers that are behind the characters in the animes, and he used Dragon Ball Z and like all the Hajime no Ippo, which is a huge manga, boxing manga that's been around just as long as One Piece. They're both in 1,000 plus chapters. You know what I mean? So shout outs to Hajime no Ippo. And it really does show, as someone who watches a lot of anime and reads manga. I saw that happen, especially in the last fight, and we'll get into that in details later. But my God, this was so much fun watching it. It was fantastic. Um, his daughter was adorable. That relationship, it was so good. It was so good on many levels. But yeah, we'll get into that later. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
All right.
Save the best for last.
All right.
I don't know about that.
That's gonna be this movie fucking sucked.
It was trash.
I shit on it.
Rocky number one is the best. I personally, I let's preface this. I just saw like all the Rockies between like yesterday and today, so I kind of have them all fresh. And
Yeah.
compared to all the others, I feel like this one had like a really fresh take on boxing because I had my
Mhm.
opinion on the boxing throughout the whole saga.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll get to it at the end.
There's a lot.
Ranking,
There's a
but-
lot there. Yeah. There's a lot there to unpack.
so I felt like this one really, I felt like the Creed 1 and 2 like stepped up and made it actually look like boxing, and then Creed 3 kind of, like Eslam said, had that anime feel. With the cinematography, they just did some really really cool
Mhm.
things in that last fight, kind of like made you feel for the character and kind of gave you like a cornered feel, or just like this, the whole everything that they did kind of really added to that final climactic feeling that you would want to go for. And it really brought an extra little flavor to that, to the fight scenes. And of course the drama aspect was really really well done too.
Mhm.
The Michael B. Jordan's a great actor, Jonathan Majors is a great actor, and they really spiced it up, especially with Jonathan Major's character and the way he fights and everything. It's just everything felt kind of fresh, and so I would definitely recommend this movie to everyone, especially if you are in that MMA world or boxing world, fight world. Definitely check it out. It was a fun watch.
With me, I mean, I'm not gonna say too much. You guys kind of pretty much said everything. The fights were incredible. You could definitely see the anime influence. Um, Michael B. Jordan did a great job. Jonathan Majors did a phenomenal job. One person that stood out to me as well, who wasn't in the movie much, but I thought was amazing, was Felicia Rashad, the mom.
Oh yes.
I mean, my God, there's one scene which we're gonna get into where that hurt. That's
Oh.
like it hurt.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, man, there's it was just great. It was just great storytelling, and that's one thing I've enjoyed with m- almost every movie in this franchise, where I feel like the storytelling is there for the most part, and I feel like as a directorial debut, I feel like he knocked it out the park. He did great. Um, another thing he did with the fighting, he filmed that with like IMAX cameras, which is something that had never been done for boxing, I believe, like a boxing movie. And it was nothing that's ever been done in this franchise. So that's another reason why it looks so crisp, it looks so good. He uses like specific cameras just for those fight scenes. But I mean, it was a good story all around. They went and kind of like honed it back, and it was like a lot of personal details that was at the forefront, and then you had like the title and all the other stuff was kind of in the background. But it was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a great movie. Highly recommended.
All right, so let's get into the spoilers. So if you haven't watched the movie yet, go watch it and come back and listen to this podcast on YouTube and all your favorite podcast platforms. Um, uh, yeah, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to follow us on our social medias. Go check out everything. So, Creed 3. My God. First of all, I could already see the anime influence in the opening fight.
Oh yeah,
It was
yeah.
so phenomenal. Um, you want to say something, Disco? Go ahead.
Yeah, especially the way you see him looking for the openings and just kind of breaking down the fight.
Yeah,
And you could see that happening in his head and stuff. And that's
yeah,
something you don't really see in the other movies where it's just kind of a slugfest in the other movies. So it was
Yeah.
really cool to see that in this one, in my opinion.
No, it was great. Yeah.
yeah. He was sizing up where he wanted to take him down, and he was baiting him, and he kept making sure the opening was still there, and the opening was still there, and throughout the whole first round. And once he was confident that he can pull it off, he took the shot, and it was a body shot, it was a liver shot, I think, or a kidney shot,
Mhm.
and he just brought pretty Ricky Collin down, and my God, man, it was so much fun seeing that in a movie.
Mhm.
You see it a lot in anime. You get to in anime you get to be inside the main character's head. You get to know their thoughts. You get to know their emotions, their driving factors, like why are they doing what they're doing. And for the most part, sometimes you see that in movies, and you kind of just watch it happen. And sometimes there's an inner monologue. The biggest inner monologue I remember in live action is Dexter, right? You get to hear a lot of his inner thoughts and
Mhm.
him fighting with his inner demons, and it's been used before, but like it gets used a lot in anime and manga because they need to explain so much to you, and this is like the best way to do it and get
Mhm.
you emotionally attached to these characters. But for this, it was, I don't know, man. I enjoyed the hell out of that. Just seeing that in the in and seeing his skill set going from Creed 1 to now Creed 3. He's the champion. He's been he's been holding the title for a long time, and then that was his last fight, and then he's
Yeah.
retired, goes skips a couple of years, and then the movie kind of starts with the story with Jonathan Majors.
Yeah. One thing I want to say real quick about that with that fight though, it's like not only like you said he evolves as a
Hmm.
fighter, but you still see some of the like the teachings from Rocky and from watching Apollo his
Yeah.
whole life, because it's like we're gonna get into it later in the podcast, but it's just like Apollo Creed's the best fighter in the Rocky verse. He's
Hmm.
the best fighter, hands down. He is their Muhammad Ali. Like he's
Yeah.
based off the character. So it's just like the fact that like this guy has Apollo's genes. He's watched Apollo fight, then he learns from who is the Rocky Marciano of the universe, or the Chuck Wepner, where he just learns to take a beating and learns to hit the body, and it's just like he's the best of both worlds. And then you get to see that in slow motion. You see him like Apollo Creed. He only ever went for headshots. If you guys notice, all he ever did was punch Rocky in the face.
He used his head as a
So
punching bag.
so many times.
Yeah,
I wrote that in my book. I was
yeah.
like,
I think.
Rocky has no bob and weave in the first like, couple movies.
He
He's
learns in
just
the third movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah, he does.
that's the thing. It's that, and then you have Rocky. He was always hitting the body. So when
Yeah,
you see Donnie, who is the best of both worlds, and
yeah,
it's just like he knows how to go for the head, he knows how to work the body. It's like seeing him do that, and then seeing him think that through, and he even tells him in the corner, "Is like, go, what are you guys doing?" He's like, "Nah, checkmate, I got this." And he's
yeah.
just like all cocky about it. Like it was awesome.
No, it was fantastic. Um, so we move on with the story of Chris, Jonathan Majors, Damien,
Dame.
Damien.
Dame. Okay, thinking Fast 10 here, Dame, right? So he's retired. Donnie's retired. He has this new and upcoming fighter, and Dame comes out of prison. He comes to see him. He's like, I want my title shot. I was the best back in the day, and they do like a flashback later on. You see Dame doing the Golden Gloves and um,
Well, that's how the movie
kicking.
started. That's the very first scene.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
I get things mixed up,
that's fine.
but and yeah, yeah, and then you see Donnie beating up this guy, and you find out later why, and but then now, okay, so Donnie pretty much works his magic to try to get him a title fight, and then Dame, in his way, makes sure it happens by because Victor Drago was gonna be fighting this Latin fighter. I forget his name. Do you remember his name, Dan? The heavy.
Cesar,
Felix.
I'm sorry, Felix. I was thinking Cesar Chavez, Felix Chavez.
Okay, so Felix Chavez, Victor Creed, Victor Drago for the title shot, right, for the heavyweight title shot.
Hmm.
So what Dame does, he takes out Victor Creed by having one of his boys pretty much break his hand,
Yeah,
and at a party that was for Donnie's wife,
Bianca.
music, yeah, for the music, Bianca, and which was you kind of guess, like, you they don't really show it because there's a quick scene where the camera's panning and you kind of see him talking to these people but not really, and then the fight happens and the guy breaks his hand, and now they got to come up with some way, and he makes sure that Donnie's the one. Donnie ma- they make sure Donnie gets him into that fight,
Yeah.
and then you see Dame fight, and
Yo,
again, anime, bro.
yo.
He was in prison. He used to be a Golden Glove fighter. He went to prison, and his style of fighting had to evolve
Yep.
to defend himself within prison, and now he brings it here.
Yeah, that and his age. Remember, he's older
Yeah,
than everybody else there.
and he had this interesting defense stance, and where he has his fists crossed and kind of aligning with his elbows at an angle, and like he would like block his face, almost like Mike Tyson's like peekaboo style,
Mhm.
but like this. That way he's kind of using his shoulders to like block at the same time, and then he can jab.
Horizontal peekaboo.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And actually that's something that Donnie uses towards the end to his advantage when he knocks him out. Um,
He also fought really dirty though. Like
yeah, yeah.
every
So that's part
move
of
was
Dirtiest
the.
just
fighter in
like
like the
was
Rockyverse.
pecking
Yeah.
people's knees. He like
Yeah,
fake missed to elbow him. I was like,
yeah. He's
dude,
punching shoulders like,
it's,
like
Yeah.
yo, it's crazy.
I'm surprised. I was
which
expecting that. It
which
was
I thought
crazy.
was interesting. You're punching the shoulder because then there's a bundle of nerves
Hmm.
between the shoulder and your clavicle, I think it's called. There's a bundle of nerves here that if you hit it, your arm pretty much kind of goes limp.
Yeah,
So you don't have no more strength in it to punch or block or do anything, which is what happened. He kept
yeah,
punching the shoulder, and that kind of wore his arm out, and he couldn't block anymore,
yeah.
and he
And
fucking.
Chavez is just telling his mom like, go find his mom, and
I thought it was really cool though, because you don't really see that. Like up until this movie, boxing is like honorable, and it's like me, my will versus your will. But this guy, he comes
this
in
guy's like, nah, fuck it, I want the
willingly
title.
breaking the rules. He's just
Yeah,
like, oh, this is just a dirty fighter. Like,
Yeah.
so I thought it was cool to see that, and then in the franchise, and
yeah.
they did that really well.
It took nine
No,
movies to
the
get there.
yeah, the writing was definitely for I feel like for all the creeds, and this is recency bias,
Hmm.
from seeing all these, and then you have like the evolvement of just like storytelling in general. So the creeds kind of get this new wave of like how you tell a story now,
Hmm.
rather than the 70s, 80s, and which had a different style. So you had a more evolved storytelling process. So so that with that plus like the anime influence, you got this really amazing boxing movie, which there were some other like fighting movies that were good, but like eh, they didn't do it like this. This had a lot
This
of.
is like, yeah, it's never been seen
Yeah.
before. Like there's so many fighting and boxing movies throughout history, but
Right.
this is the first one to do it like this,
Yeah.
It's
and
a
they did it
nice
well.
it's a nice balance because like usually if I'm thinking of like fighting movies, I think of movies that are just like I'm there for the fighting, like
Hmm.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's like
Mhm.
all fighting, all it's and it's lacking like really depthful drama, in my opinion. Where this one had a nice balance, like there was like good drama and it was like relatable too, not just like some crazy stuff. And then the fights were really good too, so I think
Yeah.
they did a really good balance of making it just
Well,
all around
that's the
wholesome.
franchise. Like at the end of the day, their dramas first.
Yeah.
Like the Rocky franchise is about the drama first, and the fighting comes second. I know some people don't like that, which is weird to me. I mean, I prefer dramas, but I mean that's the way it's been from the first movie. You know,
Yeah. No, definitely there's a lot of there's always drama in this franchise. But he gets the title. Dame wins dirty fighting, gets the title, and now he kind of like turns on Donnie. He's like, you're a poser. You were living my life.
yeah.
I'm the champion." He calls him Little Creed. Punches him on that beach scene. Disrespects him, and
Some people say that's the same beach where Rocky and Apollo ran in Rocky 3.
oh, that would
No,
be
I'm making
interesting.
that up.
Okay.
I was gonna
Um,
say that's a fun fact.
yeah, that would be interesting though. And yeah, so that happens, and then Donnie has to go through what every at some point every anime character, every manga character has to go through. They've hit rock bottom, and they have to find their inner resolve um, to come back. Like, why are they actually fighting for? Like, what are they fighting for? Why are they fighting? And Donnie has to go through that, and you see in his training, like he could do more, but he just can't. And because he doesn't like, it's the same thing that happened with Rocky 3, right? When he was fighting, when he's gonna fight Clubber Lang for the first time, after he held the title 10 defenses, and Mickey's like, this guy's hungry. You're not
Yeah,
hungry anymore.
yeah,
Like, I haven't seen that look in his eyes in a while. Like, you don't
yeah.
have that look
Said,
anymore. You
he said you
did.
haven't
He
been
became
hungry since
civilized.
the first belt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So like you kind of see that again, and it's just like you Donnie doesn't have that hunger anymore that he had
mhm,
in Creed 1, where he's like, I need to prove myself. Um, and he has to go through this whole training montage and like really, you know, find himself,
mhm,
so he can beat this guy that was his brother, that was his friend, his protector. Um, and that's where the anime again comes in, the relationship between the two people fighting, which was they did a really great job writing that out. It was
yeah.
great.
Not only that, it's I find it interesting that you're comparing it to Rocky 3. This I actually compared to another Rocky movie,
Well,
Rocky 5.
that part, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yes, yes.
This I see a lot of Rocky 5 in it, where it's. I know, I know,
Don't
I know, I
disrespect it
know, I
like
know,
that.
I know.
Don't
Hear me out.
disrespect
So what they did is they took Rocky 5 and they made a good movie out of it.
it.
So it's basically Rocky confides in this person. That person makes to the top. They turn on Rocky. Rocky has to
Mhm.
somehow overcome and defeat them.
But I don't think he confides in him. He's just he has the guilt of like, I owe you for my life because I ran and you got in trouble,
No,
right?
yeah.
He's
So yeah, no, I get it's not the same. It's not
no,
one
no,
for one.
and you're no,
Yeah,
but you're right. It does have similarities to Rocky 5. It has some similarities and aspects from Rocky 3, and
yeah.
like I think they took bits
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
pieces
yeah.
of like these its predecessors and created something new and better and phenomenal. But yeah, it was great. And then, a lot of drama happens, him and his wife, and,
Well,
um,
the best, in my opinion, the best scene in the entire movie,
mm,
the death of
The
Felicia
mom.
Rashad's character.
yeah, yeah, that was a
It
phenomenal.
it hurt. Like
Yeah.
that's the one where it's just like they talk about it early on, where it's like she had a stroke at some point in between Creeds 2 and
Yeah.
3, and you can see Donnie and Bianca. They're kind of like weary about her, like, "Hey, why don't you live with us?" She's like, "No, fuck you guys. I was on the Cosby Show," and they just keep moving forward.
That's funny.
And then and then there you get to that one part where he he finds out that she was hiding all the notes that Dame was
Mm.
sending him while he was in prison. He blames her for it. She's like, "You should have told me." She's like, in the end, she's like, "Yeah, I should have told you, but at the same time, I was just doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm trying to protect you." And then you get to the part where Bianca calls him and is just like, "Hey, she had
While
another
he's
stroke."
training, right? I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, she had another stroke. You might want to come visit her. This might be it." And it's just, oh man, it's like he's talking to her. She's literally on her deathbed. She's talking to him, and then she starts talking to Apollo, and she's
Yes.
like, "Oh my god," she's like, "Apollo, I hated you so much because you left me, and Donnie, he's the one that he helped me forgive you."
He
And it's just
saved
like,
me.
yeah, he
Yeah.
saved me, and I was like, "Oh man," like I was like, I had a tear come down the theater and everything. I was like, "Oh man, this, whew, it was a lot." um, but yeah, man,
Yeah, that
that
was
was rough.
very sad. It's
Yeah,
like she's been there. She picked them up. She, oh man, yeah, that was definitely eh, in the eyes of like a fighter. Like when you really want to focus on like the training camp, like that's the last thing
that
you really
breaks
want
you.
to hear. Like,
Yeah,
and it did too. It really did break him in the movie as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
it was great writing there. Great,
yeah,
just humanity. Man, that just
yeah.
sucks. You lose your mom. Ugh.
That's rough, man. Now, with that being said, like that's great, and we're talking about how much we love it. There are quite a few things that I feel like were weird in the movie that I didn't like. Um, it's weird that like, it's funny. I was talking to Rudy Jazz about this too, where Dame becomes champion. And then Donnie's just like, I gotta fight him, which I get it. That's the movie, but I think shouldn't Victor Drago have been the one who's supposed to fight the champion now at this point?
So I think the reason why they didn't do that is because they might want to start their Drago movies. And
Oh
I feel
yeah,
like and I
yeah.
feel like this movie where he was there but he was in the background is kind of just like setting up for Drago.
Which is great. The only thing with that is I get that, but why is he a trading partner now? Like I
Yeah.
feel like that it was like, oh, it's like it's cool seeing Drago's like, hey, he's cool with Donnie now. That's awesome. But at the same
No.
time, it's just like I don't want to see you. Like you should be fighting for this title. Why are you like, hey, my hand's broken because of this guy. I'm friends with you, Donnie, so I'm sure you can fight it and told me that.
Yeah.
But instead of me going out there getting revenge and winning a title I should have won, I'm gonna help you do it and come out of retirement. I was like, I don't know about that.
Mm.
I don't know about that.
I don't mind that much because I think if they went that route, it wouldn't have been as powerful a story
No,
between
I agree.
Donnie and Dame.
Yeah.
It also
And
reminds me of like I'm sorry, cut you. You go.
no, no,
You
go
finish.
for it. Go. I
It
think I was
also
done.
kind
Yeah.
of reminded me of like UFC because like I feel like UFC, especially now, it's like oh I want these two fighters to fight, and then when they build the fight card, it's just like some random shit's like ah fuck. So I
You have
felt
to
like
fill in. Yeah.
it's like that's kind of like the where the logic isn't always like
Oh yeah, yeah.
there. So it's
Well, I know. And you look back at the first Rocky movie, literally the same exact thing happens. Rocky should not have gotten that shot. It should have gone to anyone else.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
was just some bum from the street. Like literally,
Yeah.
he was fighting the world champion. So I get it, but it's one of those things where it's just like the only difference is you don't have the guy who was supposed to fight Apollo help train Rocky. Like
Yeah.
that's really what it is that gets me. It's just like I'm perfectly fine with that. I just don't want to see Victor come back and help train
Mm.
Creed. Like they could be friends, they could be cool. Just don't help
It
him.
would have been cool in the beginning if it was Creed instead of Chavez. If Donnie was like propping up like Victor Drago instead of this
Oh,
other
like if
guy.
he's part of Drago's like I mean if he's part of Donnie's like training camp.
Yeah, yeah. No, if like instead of this guy being the champion, this random
Oh,
fighter, it was Victor Drago, and then like Donnie was the one that was like, "Hey, I'm backing him and training
yeah.
him, and like, like sure your father killed my father, but like, we're not
Yeah, that
gonna
wasn't us.
like we're not responsible for the sins of our fathers. Like we're new people, and like we had our beef, we got through it, and we became good friends, kind of like Drago, kind of like
Rocky and Apollo.
Creed. Yeah, Rocky and so that would have been interesting too. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sure they went through all these
Yeah.
storylines, kind of like in their writing room, and they vetted them out, and they were like, this is the best.
Yeah.
This is what we think is the best product to put out there. And listen, I'm not mad at it. I
Yeah.
loved
I
I
still
loved
love the
this
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
But let's get to the creme de la creme. The creme de la creme. That fucking last fight. My God. They start, you go round one, it's a regular fight in round one, right? They're still feeling each other out, blah blah blah. He's doing his shoulder thing, and round two starts kind of the same. They're doing that. I feel like I think if I remember correctly, they get to round three, and that's when it turns anime,
Hmm.
right? um, Round three, um, is when everything gets quiet, and they get into this a zone of just each other. There's no one in the stadium. It's just them, and then there's like a cage around the ring,
Hmm.
and it's like this is a fight between you and me, and only one of us is leaving here alive. And it was just Disco. You're muted.
Was the cage there to like make it feel like they're closed in, or was it also because they were in prison together?
Yeah. Well, not in prison together, but in the group home together.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of symbolism of like this is just us, but like we were in this prison together, we are in this prison together now. It's just this ring in this cage, whatever. It's just you and me. We're going to fight it out, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? And it was just beautiful, and like the fighting, and then they kind of do this montage of like fighting, and then they come out of it, and then like the sound comes back, people come back, and it's like round 11, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
It's so cool because I feel like I've seen that or something similar in like Hajime no Ippo, like when they're fighting, and it's just kind of just like and like it zooms in, it's concentrating on just them. You don't care about the people, you don't care about the crowd, no wives, no children, nothing. It's just them,
It's
and it
that
was
like
wonderful.
the perfect way to highlight like that adrenaline fight or flight mode where it's like
Yeah.
literally nothing else matters. It's just you and him to the
and i
death.
feel like
Like
and i feel like
that's
it
where
was
they did that
very
perfect.
and I feel like it was very important for them to do that intro to this style of like showing a fight in the beginning with Donnie and Pretty Ricky Connellan, where he was like slowing things down in his mind and
Yeah.
seeing the punch, and I feel like they did that. It was perfect so they can set up this scene, because I feel
Hmm.
like if they didn't do that, people would have gotten confused and they're like, "What the fuck's happening?" Um,
Yeah. It was really cool when they got them in the corner too. The
yeah,
way like the wide pan or just like the camera effects they used were sick. Like you really felt like a kind of like that backed up in the like
Oh
in the
yeah.
ropes, just kind of like what's happening. Like you
yeah.
feel that like high energy, the flurries of punches, and it made you kind of really relate to these fighters. And you've like I don't know. I've been sparring, so I don't know. Maybe it just pulled me back to those like nostalgic moments of back when I was like in those moments. And so kudos to the cinematographers, man.
Yeah.
That was it was amazing.
Yeah, kudos to the direction of Michael B. Jordan, the cinematographers, the writing, like everything was really cool about this movie.
Hmm.
Um,
Why'd you
uh,
put it on me?
I do you have anything to say about the last
No, I
fight?
mean, the fighting was great. I enjoyed it very much. There was like a lot of like you're saying, anime influence. I thought it was cool with the cage, and then you have like the mattress in the corner, and then they revert back to being kids at one point. Like,
Hmm.
there's a lot of like
Yeah,
symbolism in this fight. So it was I feel like it was really cool.
yeah.
It's just yeah, man. I don't want to say too many good things because I need to justify where I'm going to rank this.
um,
It was really cool. My last piece, the way he actually ended up beating Dame, where he like you mentioned, Dame had this like kind of like horizontal peekaboo type of style, and it was really cool how he like caught the timing, and then he
mhm,
like right when he opened, he just like sent the punch and just
yeah,
sent him, and I think it's really cool how they do that because it's like everything kind of adds up and builds to this climactic ending. You could see him using those moves in prior fights, and
mhm,
it builds up. Whereas the other movies, it kind of just you're just thrown into the fight. You don't really know what's what, and
yeah,
they just throw punches. Ah, I'm dead
yeah,
to
yeah.
you. So I really liked it.
Yeah. Overall, man, I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I really enjoyed watching the Creeds again. I watched them with Nadia, and she really enjoyed them as well, and she enjoyed the hell out of this movie too. So it was a lot of fun, and can't wait for Creed 4. Let's go. I'm gonna go first, and
Okay.
this this could be controversial, you know, but it is what it is, you know. So here's the beginning of my rankings.
Is this, are you starting at number one or
This
nine?
is number one.
Why are you starting at one? You're so weird.
Uh, does everybody do rankings backwards?
I figure like that's the big reveal. What's number one?
Oh, okay. Well, here's the big reveal. Number one, Rocky. Um, this is the to me this is the movie that started everything. This and it had like one of the. I'm trying to judge these movies in the times they came out because if I judge them compared to these new movies are just gonna win, for the most part. So I took a look and Sylvester Stallone wrote all the Rockies. He was writer for Rocky One, writer and director for Rocky Two, writer and director for Rocky Three, writer and director for Rocky Four, writer for Rocky Five, John G. Avil Avildsen,
John G.
whatever.
Avildsen, the director of Karate Kid 1 and 2.
Okay,
There's a lot of similarities between Rocky 1 and Karate Kid 1 and 2.
okay, but damn, they dropped the ball in Rocky Five.
I know they did
Um,
Rocky 1 and Rocky 5.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then you have Sylvester Stallone, writer and director for Rocky Balboa. So he wrote and directed most of the movies, but he definitely wrote all of them. Um, and you can kind of see the like you said before, the evolution of Rocky and which is the evolution of Sylvester Stallone, and you can see that in the writing because my God, the writing was like the dialogue was just horrendous in the beginning. Like the
I love
first
it.
like two Rocky movies was just like I was losing brain cells. But it had like one of it like Rocky's famous, like this movie's famous for a reason, and it's because it has one of the greatest underdog stories. Um, and but he still doesn't win at the end. The underdog does not win, but he wins everybody's affection, right? He had so much heart, he had so much charisma and like will in the ring that he won everybody's like favor even though he lost the fight. And I enjoyed that because again, this is kind of a theme that happens in anime, and manga. Like the main character doesn't always win the first fight or whatever. Sometimes he has to come back and, um, do it again and win people's hearts. Win the fight actually. Um, Next up, my number two is Creed. Creed One. I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie also because again, it wasn't really it was an underdog story, but it wasn't. But it had a lot of emotion in this movie. There was a lot of mature emotion. Like Rocky was still kind of dealing with the death of his wife, which was his rock, his whole world. Um, he doesn't talk to his son; they're estranged, and then he kind of gets this second chance with the son he kind of wished he had. Um, and then Adonis comes back. Adonis comes. He's like, um, I'm Apollo's son, and like, hey, you. And then they kind of both had this guilt. Rocky having the guilt of letting this guy Apollo die, and then like Adonis having like this guilt of, or maybe not a guilt, but like he has these emotions of like he left me, and like now I have his name but I don't want to use it, so I'm not just given things. I want to actually prove myself and kind of almost earn the name Creed. So it was just like a very interesting storyline. They used a lot of these characters backgrounds and emotions in the movie, and I felt like it really did a great job, and that's why it's my number two. Number three is Creed 3. We just spoke about this movie. I fucking loved it. It would have been higher. Now this movie has a lot of emotions and stuff, but um, and literally the best fight scene of all the movies, in my opinion. So that's why it's number three. It almost made it to one, but like the other movies had like these other types of importance that set up the path for this movie to happen. So, um, my number four is Rocky 3. Loved this movie. Loved that Hulk Hogan was in it in the beginning. That
Thunder
shit.
Lips.
Oh my god, that shit was so goddamn funny. I loved the character of Clubber Lang. The dialogue was straight garbage, but it was, it was Rocky type dialogue. It was just hilarious. They were like talking, like the way they were talking, like it's just like they would talk to themselves and just scream shit out loud for no reason. And like I'm just like, what's happening? But it was funny. It was fun. Like my God, Clubber Lang was amazing. I forget his name, the actor's name.
Mr.
Uh,
T?
yes, there.
How'd you forget Mr. T?
I thought that was a character name too, but now I remember that it is his real name. So, I thought Mr. T was a
Hate
character,
you.
That's
but
Hate you
fantastic. I
so
love
much.
that.
uh, so all right. Um, what are we at? Number five?
I don't know.
Is this so? This is one, two, three, four. Yeah, five. Five. Rocky four. Drago, obviously, one of the best Rocky movies, and Drago was an awesome villain. He was bigger than life, and then Rocky literally had to climb a mountain just to beat this guy. So this is an awesome poster that I found, and it was a great movie. It was America versus Russia. It played on the patriotic strings of everybody. Yeah, and the craziest shit happened, which was Creed died, but yeah, no, it was a great movie. Um, Creed 2. This was a good movie. I just don't think it was as good as 1 or 3. It was Drago came back. You think there would be kind of like more, but like I don't know. It was good, but it was just like it was all right to me. So that's why it's number 6. And number 7 is it number 7 or 8? No, it's 7. Rocky 2. It was just like Rocky 1 all over again, but Creed was like, I need to prove myself that this guy, it was a fluke. I'm gonna fight him. Rocky didn't want to fight, spent all his money, blah blah blah, went back to fighting, and it's just like I don't know. It wasn't as interesting as the first Rocky movie, but it was there. And that's it. That's where we stop the rankings. There are no two other movies. Um, and I think Danny's upset, or I don't know what's happening, but you know,
You're
um,
good. Disco, you ready?
actually Rocky Balboa, and
Yeah.
then Rocky Five because they both sucked. So that's my rankings.
What's last place? What's last place?
Rocky Five.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Disco, did you rank yours backwards the wrong way or did you do it, the correct way?
I did it from worst to best.
Okay, the normal way. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't know that's how we were supposed to do them.
crazy, crazy man over there.
Hey, it is what it is. I go against the grain.
I could tell. I could tell by that ranking. So, Disco, do you want to go or you want? Okay, so you're going first.
Can you see that?
Yeah. Is this your last place ranking?
Because it says number
Oh
one.
yeah, I put number one. Well, that's actually supposed to be a 9.
So, hang on. Rocky 3 is your last place?
No, no, no. Actually, I did it the way Aslam did it. Damn, I did fuck up.
Yo.
I'm all fucked up. I could change the slides though. Hold up. Boom.
Okay. Rocky Five. All right. So I
Okay, so
think we're all. I think we're all on the same page with the last place.
Yeah, so Rocky 5 was definitely last place. It just felt all over the place, man. And then I forgot the kid's name. He just came from left field. They didn't even really give him background, and,
Oh,
and
Robert.
he's
Oh, Tommy Gunn.
Yeah.
yeah, Tommy Guns, yeah. And then I felt like Rocky took him in way too quick, and then got betrayed by him real quick, and it just all felt really just didn't sit well. There wasn't even that last street fight was just out of nowhere. I felt like Tommy Guns was just like I didn't like him as a villain, an antagonist, and usually I kind of do like the antagonist, and even the worst ones. um, so this one was just all around bad. I think everybody has the same consensus.
Mm-hmm.
Next, I have Rocky Balboa. Granted, I had watched like most of the other ones prior to this, like consecutive, pretty much for the most part. So I think I was about done with like Rockies. Uh, this one was the one with the son. You know, it was kind of cool to see his son grow up, and they kind of still have this like disconnect. You know,
Hmm.
it was cool. Um, they and then the main villain comes up because the antagonist because of a game.
Yeah.
They set Rocky against Dixon, and then that's how it was. And then the fight was okay at the end. I was like, nothing really special. I thought it was kind of like cheesy, especially the way they attracted the fight, and
Hmm.
it was it was very
Yeah. 100%.
And then I put Creed 2. Like Eslam said, I really liked the Creed movies, especially because they're more modernized and the cameras and the fighting technique is better. But overall, this one just did fall flat. I think the it wasn't bad, but compared to the others, I was just it didn't really catch me either. The Victor Drago saga. Um, I thought it was cool seeing Drago's wife just kind of like cold shoulder him. It's like you lost your bitch, and now he's just like dead to him,
Yeah.
and even the son. So I thought that was kind of cool, but overall, it was man. Uh, I would like to see more Victor Drago, like we were talking about before. Maybe I guess in another series or movie or whatever. But yeah, that's how I felt about that
Well, they
one.
are doing the Drago franchise.
Oh, so that's cool. That's cool. 6, I have Rocky 2. Uh, I liked it. I liked it because this was still prime Stallone, where he's just all over the place. He can't talk right. The dialogue is just like, "Yo, Adrian," and
Yeah.
then I wrote
He
some
said like a million times in these movies.
shit. One thing he says is, "I'll just call you. I'll just go, hey yo." He just, yeah, there's just so many different like quotes. I just couldn't. I couldn't.
Well,
So
one of the best ones is at the very beginning where you have Gazzo, the loan shark guys talking to him. He's like, "Hey, Rocky, why don't you go ahead and invest in something like condominiums?" Like, well, condominiums, I don't use them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Oh,
literally
that was
have that as my
hilarious.
next quote. I
Yeah,
was
that's
about to.
hilarious.
Oh yeah, I told that to Eric and he was laughing too. So yeah, that would definitely have me going. But I like this movie for that. It really wasn't the best. Like Eslam said, it was kind of just like a copy clone of Rocky One.
I'm just gonna go ahead and mute.
But but yeah. So it was like a clone of Rocky One. I felt like, but overall, I still enjoyed it because you got to see like his relationship with Adrian kind of grow further,
Hmm.
and they got engaged, and I really liked I really liked where they ended up compared to how they started because I felt like that starting of the relationship was just so just so weird.
That he asked her to marry her at the zoo, and then he invited the tiger.
He did
That
do that.
shit
He
had
oh
me
man.
dying, bro. So goddamn funny.
Well, next up is actually Rocky One, because of the dialogue as well. This is it's the intro to the Rocky series, and he's just crazy, just that New Yorker young Stallone. Hey
Yeah.
yo, we gotta do this. Hey, keep it up, boys. Like it's just like I don't know, just broken sentences and words, and then somehow with perseverance and knowing Paulie, he got in with Adrian, and I from the first movie, I was just like, how is this working? But then again, Adrian's kind of a homebody, and then Paulie kind of secludes her. So it's like this is the only access to men she really has. And so
I mean, he was a handsome guy.
yeah, he's handsome, but he's definitely a knucklehead. So
Yeah, I mean,
so it was kind of and so it's kind of cool, especially when Rocky was like explaining why they're together, and it was like they fill in the gaps, and it made total sense because especially with my relationship, it's like we don't always know each other, like we fill in the gaps, so it's like I may have some skills she doesn't, and vice versa, and that's very abundantly clear with this Rocky and Adrian because they're so different. um, Rocky's outspoken and he'll make a fool of himself, and while Adrian's more soft-spoken, timid, and more sheltered. Uh, but it's really cool to see how they build this bond and how Adrian actually pushes him and motivates him, and that love blossoms. So I appreciated that in Rocky One, and of
Hmm.
course, this was the built the whole franchise. You got to meet Creed, one of the best. I really like the Creed actor. He just gives good vibes. Um, so that I really like that
So
one.
Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He died in this universe and was reincarnated in the Mandalorian universe.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Makes
That's one of those.
sense. Damn, Drago pushed him to Tatooine.
Oh, that's funny.
Shoot. So fourth, I have Creed 3. Um, this one, like we just reviewed, the fight scenes were just phenomenal, and the drama was really great. But I think, despite all that, and I think I still have three other movies that really kind of sold the series for me. Third, I have Creed. I rank this one because after coming off of the first Rocky movies and the first movie into the Creeds, you really got to see like the upgrade in cinematography and the writing, and it kind of you could tell it was like taking other people took the reins pretty much, and I really liked the direction they went. They kept Stallone in it, and it kind of had it definitely had like the Rocky vibes, just like new people. And Michael B. Jordan, he's just is a great all around actor. I liked him as Adonis, and especially the way he built this relationship with Rocky. And
Hmm.
he showed up one day. He's like knows all the details, and he's like, "How do you know all that?" And he's just like, "I'm Creed's son." And the next he shows up every day, call him Unc and this and that. And next they're family.
Sorry to cut in real quick, but the one thing I kind of didn't like about this movie is they revealed who won the third fight between Rocky and Creed. Um,
Oh yeah,
and
it's supposed to be a secret. Yeah,
I enjoyed the mystery. Was it this movie or the second movie?
Yeah, no, it's this one.
it was this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I kind of was like, the mystery was nicer, and then they kind of just were like, oh, it was Creed.
No, see, normally I'd agree with you. This is
Yeah.
one of those instances where I feel like it was revealed perfectly.
It
Mm.
needed to be said because Creed was the all around best boxer. I mean, granted he died because of Drago, but he had all the skill, he had all the power, and he was just like he said.
And we all knew Apollo
He
won.
said, "What did he
Like,
say? You're a great."
you fight great, but I'm a great fighter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the last thing he said in the other movie before
Hmm.
this one. So it's like that's so true. And by him saying that he won, it backs that statement up. And I thought it was a really cool, kind of fun tidbit reveal.
I feel
Um,
like, sure, yeah, I agree with either of your opinions. You're obviously entitled to them, even though they're
yeah.
wrong. But
You want to talk about wrong opinions? There's a reason why I keep mute myself.
um, but yeah, I just take the other side of that opinion. I would have preferred it kept secret. Obviously, everybody thought it was him, and I don't know. Confirming it, it was just like, all right, yeah, sure, okay, thanks. There's no mystery now.
he ruined the mystery.
Yeah,
The enigma. All
yeah.
right, two. I got Rocky Four. I I think just the symbolism of having him fight Drago, and I always liked Drago as a villain. I still to this day even say I will break you, and
Yeah.
like if I'm especially even like any task, like if I'm it's up me against something, I'm like I will break you, and I'll it's just something that comes up like through my thought process, my thought train. So and he's just Dolph Lundgren was just huge, and he just played that character so well, especially back in the day when this movie came out. Seeing somebody like that huge and almost Street Fighter looking, like
Hmm.
just kick some ass, like it was definitely what he was unique and one of a kind to this style of movie. So I really enjoyed his presence, and especially how Rocky stopped the Cold War. And he said at the end, I'd rather it be two than 2 million. So I thought that was pretty powerful, maybe cheesy a little, but at the same time, it is what it is for Rocky. I thought it was pretty cool. He had the training montage in Russia where I think that's how I said he climbed the mountain and he started yelling. I thought that was really sick. A bunch of training montages. um,
Hey, that's an anime too. You know what I'm saying? They love the training montages.
yeah. Uh, so one thing I want to say is that the boxing was like non-apparent here. Bro just really went up there. He just trained power, like
Uh huh.
stamina, but their boxing was like the first two movies was not there. He'd literally run up and square up and then just get knocked in the head. Like I was
I
like,
think
bro, Bob and Weave, son, do
I think it's
something.
funny how he started out retarded with the way he spoke, and then he got hit in the head so many times he started speaking better. Like he this literally used his head as
Like
defense.
he,
Yeah,
but then after fighting Drago, he reverts back.
it's so crazy, man. So
Oh my god, it's hilarious. Um,
yeah, and I just also like that Drago's wife was Flavor Flav's wife at the one point, so that's a nice fun fact.
she
Um,
was.
Yeah. I'm
Flavor
glad that
Flav,
that influenced your ranking as well.
it definitely. That's why I
I
mentioned it too in this in the Creed movies. I was like, you get to see her again, and she's just like cold shouldering them. It's so funny. Um,
I'm blanking on her name now too. It's like I know it, I just can't think of it.
yeah, I'm blanking too.
Yeah, it's not
Elizabeth, I don't know, something with an
yeah,
N.
it's something.
And then my first one was of course Rocky 3. I I just love this one.
Bridget Nielsen is
Bridget,
her.
yep.
Yeah,
This one, I just the Hulk Hogan scene I thought was so funny. He
yeah.
kept calling him a meatball. He's like, "Come on, meatball, keep hitting me, meatball."
the
He
ultimate
just-
male versus the ultimate meatball.
and his name
Yeah.
was Thunder Lips too. I was dying the whole time. I was like, "Keep going, yo!" And then after at the end of the charity match, they were cool. He was like, "Oh, can you take a picture of my daughter or some shit like that?" I was like, "Bro." Hulk Hogan just went insane, destroyed
Yeah.
everything, and just like flipped the switch off. Like it was like a Viking, like a battle torn Viking. Just so I love that match. I thought it was so fun, and I think it was really cool that you get some like a famous wrestler into the Rocky movies and
Well,
different.
he wasn't. That's the thing. He wasn't like Hulk Hogan at this point. He was just
Mm.
like he was just some dude who wrestled. Like I think he might have had the name Hulk Hogan, but he was nothing special.
Mm.
This movie came out, and then Hulk Hogan like grew. Like
Was
Rocky
that
3 is a major reason as to why WWE is so big right now.
wait? So did Hollywood Hogan come out because of this? Like as a result of this movie, he
No,
became
no.
Hollywood.
Well, Hollywood Hogan happened years after that.
Oh, you're okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was back in That's over in WCW where he
Oh,
became
that would have
Hollywood
been
Hogan.
interesting if it was like this happened and he became
No.
Hollywood Hogan.
This created Hulkamania. This is I
Oh.
mean this movie is the reason why WrestleMania happened because the
Nice.
main event of WrestleMania is Hulk Hogan and Mr. T together in
Oh,
a tag team.
damn.
It stemmed out of Rocky 3.
Holy shit, that's wild, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like
awesome.
like Rocky 3 has a big influence
No
on
wonder
wrestling.
why you like Rocky
Yeah.
so much. You never told us this before.
It's why would this come up in conversation?
I
For
don't
real,
know. It's just like,
I,
hey guys, like, how's your day? Did you know that? In like,
Yeah, no, Rocky's very big with wrestling, especially Rocky 3.
that's good. That's amazing.
That's fun to know. I also like this one because they let me go down my list. They put up the Rocky Balboa statue, so I thought that was very symbolic and significant. Uh, this is also the movie where Mickey was like, "The worst thing that happened to is you got civilized." I don't know, that really
Yeah.
hit me.
Great line.
And it made sense too because he was like in this like 3-piece suit at the time too. Like he had neck pins and stuff, like tie pins. He was like well fancied out. So it really made sense. He got civilized and he lost that bestial nature, that
His
primal
bestiality.
fighting instinct.
What's really interesting now that I'm thinking about it, Rocky, like, Creed 3 mirrors a lot of Rocky 3 themes. Rocky lost Mickey, and Donnie lost his mother.
Mhm.
They both had to kind of like come out of this, um, like this dump, or like they had to fight themselves to actually get to their peak again, and then you had like the bad guy of, which is interesting. It's pretty cool.
It's funny. I have this. Well, I'll get into it later, but like I have this thing where like the Creed movies parallel the odd number movies of the Rockies.
Oh,
Like
that's interesting.
Creed 1 is very similar to Rocky 1 to
Yeah.
me. They're both, I mean, self-explanatory. To me, Creed 2 is very similar to Rocky 3.
Yeah.
Where it's just like he's champion. He's like, oh, this is just some dude. I'm gonna fight him real quick, and the dude fucking destroys him, and he has to
Yeah.
like overcome himself
Yeah.
to get to him. And then I already told you earlier about Creed 3 and Rocky 5 to me. So it's like
Okay.
I always had this thing where it's like just for some reason I always saw the odd numbers of the Rockies coincide with the Creeds.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely similarities
Yeah.
in all of them showing up in the creeds, and it's nice that they're paying homage to their predecessors.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. What else you got, Disco?
This is the Rocky where Mickey dies, and
Yeah.
Mickey's just the best, man. I love the way he talks. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna get Hoyt, kid," and I just love that, like that old fashioned, like
You're gonna eat thunder. You're gonna crap lightning.
yeah, exactly. So when Mickey passed, I was laughing at the way Rocco
Rocky.
took it. He was like,
It's one of my. It's one of the funniest scenes, if not the
But-
funniest scene in the entire franchise.
I tried to be serious too, but I was like, Mickey is
Oh,
dead.
it's funny.
I get it.
It's funny because I had the subtitles on,
Yeah.
and at one point, like he was saying something, and there were no subtitles,
Yeah.
and then the subtitles started again.
Yeah.
It's just like it was so bad they didn't even like
Yeah.
have. Yeah, it was
They didn't even
hilarious.
try.
Yeah. He does the same thing in Rambo.
Yeah.
There was one scene where Rocky was introducing Paulie. He was like, "Apologize. It takes about 6 years to get to know him." I thought that was so funny introducing Paulie because Paulie's kind of been like.
Oh, I hate
At,
that motherfucker
at first,
so much.
I was like, I don't really
I
like
hate him.
Paulie. He's a bitch. He's jealous. He's this. He's that. But at the end, it's like he's like that brother you can't get rid of. Like no matter how shitty he is, you end up like you love him because that's your brother. Like not that he's the best. He does everything like to fuck up and whatnot and disrespectful at times, especially to Adrian. But I don't know. I just felt like he was part of the family at a point. So and also I just thought that was funny because Paulie is that type of person. It takes about 6 years to know him, to get to know him. And then
I was happy when he died.
another quote is Apollo had Rocky's swimming. He's like, he ain't no tuna. We belong back in the gym. That shouldn't be dying.
Oh yeah. And then he even asked Paul. He's like, "Hey, could he swim?" He's like, "With a name like Rock."
Yeah. So that little dialogue really had me going.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie was just full of those little liners. What
This
else
is
I have?
This is the. I do believe this is the most quotable Rocky movie.
And then of course I really like Clubber Lang. He was maybe not the best antagonist, but I love Mr. T and I pity the fool that thinks otherwise.
The first time he ever said "Pity the Fool" is in this movie. This is his first ever role acting. Fun fact: when they were making Rocky 3, they had seen this documentary where they were talking like about different like badass bouncers all over the world, and they saw this one bouncer, and they were just like, "Hey, let's try to find an actor that could imitate this guy." They couldn't find anybody, so they hired the bouncer, and that was Mr. T.
Jesus, that's amazing.
That was the best like casting ever. What is it? Oh, there was the training montage scene with Apollo. That's another thing. I love how Apollo ended up training Rocky. It was like a nice friendship that enemy turned friend, like almost like Vegeta, with Goku. I really enjoy those types of friendships where it's like you're enemies at first, and then you're frenemies, and then you're just friends. So I enjoyed that progression, especially after they really started training hard. And it was funny because in the training montage, Creed has like a crop top, and then you see Rocky kind of like giving up and funking out. And then next
he gets the crop top,
you see Rocky get the crop top. I was like, bro, he got the crop top power. The crop top. Next, he's beating shit up and training really hard.
Not only that, for some reason, this montage showed so much thigh. There was a lot of thigh.
They were trying to be real provocative and sexy this montage. This movie had it all.
They were oiled up hard, bro. They were so oily. It was crazy.
And then one question I have is the last scene. Is it legal to push in boxing? Because I felt the last fight, they were just pushing each other all day, just like pushing each other.
I mean, it's not legal to push, but at the same time, like, it's Rocky. Like, you know.
But overall, that's the main reason why this was my number one Rocky movie. It just had everything, man. It had Hogan, Clubber Lang, Mr. T. It was so good. The statue, Mickey passed away, so there was nice little drama in there. He's a heartfelt character. Adrian and Paulie are still there supporting him and whatnot, and also that robot in the beginning. I think this was Rocky 3,
Rocky 4,
or that was 4. That robot though was definitely worth a mention.
Happy birthday, Paulie.
Yeah, she loves me.
It's so. The best part about that is when the robot comes out and then learns how to speak like a woman, and Apollo's there. Apollo's just looking. So what the hell is happening in this house? Like, I want to fight this Russian guy. Why do you have a robot?
Yo, for real though, I honestly that blew my mind too. I was like, back in the day in the 80s or 70s when that came out, that probably was like the top of the line tech, and
So,
now we
so
have that like serving in McDonald's.
there was like some type of conference, some tech conference or something like that, where Sylvester Stallone saw the robot and then he was like, "I'm just gonna put this in the next Rocky movie." That's how they got it.
That makes perfect sense. It was out of
For
nowhere.
Sylvester Stallone, yes.
I was like, where did that come from? He's all rich. I mean, I get you're rich, but now you got robots. Like, um, but anyway, Rocky 3 was just the best. It really was the greatest challenge. It was amazing. It just out of all of that, this was the one that really took me, knocked me off my feet, and I literally between 2 days killed the whole thing, the whole saga, and the whole series. So I really, without a doubt, hand to my heart, this is the best Rocky movie.
Nice.
That's it for me. I don't know how to close this.
All right. I'll try not to be too long on my stuff. Here. Okay. So,
Go crazy. I want to hear your opinion. I feel like you know all the stuff about all the movies.
I mean, I know a lot about these. So I'm starting with the last place, the correct way. You guys can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a given. Rocky Five is the only movie in the entire franchise that's not good. That's
Yeah.
the only one.
What else did I
It's
say was not good?
You said Rocky Balboa. You didn't even want to rank it.
Well, I did both of those. Yeah.
Rocky Five. It has its moments. It has here and there. For some reason, they try to create a Don King character, and the most annoying part about that is they called him Duke when they already had a Duke in the franchise. It was Apollo's trainer. I was like, you can't just do that. You can't just change the name and then they bring him back a Rocky Balboa. And I was like, no, you get your name back. Here you go. The whole thing with Tommy Gunn was not done well. The whole stuff with his son was very unlikable. Fun fact, that was his son in real life. He later on passed away. That is Sage Stallone.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So there was just a lot
Oh,
there
the
that
little the young kid?
the kid in Rocky Five
With the earring.
Oh.
with the earring. Yeah.
Oh
Oh
wow.
dang!
Yeah, that was Rocky Balboa's son, Sage Stallone.
Oh wow. Okay.
So Stallone's son.
Yeah. Hence his
Oh
last
wow!
name being Stallone.
He said that's Rocky Balboa's son. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I guess he's both, but
yeah.
yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, no, that
Do you
and
know
then the
how? Do
weird
you know how he went? Or
that I'm not sure of, to be
oh,
honest.
okay. Happy birthday, Henry!
Happy
Shout
birthday,
out.
Henry. That and I also didn't like how they randomly introduced the Rocky Marciano cuffling. That was a big major thing that didn't exist until this movie, where it's like they brought back Mickey just to introduce this thing so he could give it to Rocky. Rocky would give it to Tommy Gunn instead of giving it to his son. It was like a weird MacGuffin that wasn't necessary. I just feel like overall it could have they tried. They
It
tried
was
and they failed.
it was there to prove the neglect or show the neglect to his
Yeah.
son. That was
Not,
that was pretty much it.
that's really all it was. And it was like they brought back Burgess Meredith, Mickey's character, for that. I was just like, it's like he'd been gone since the third movie, and they were saving that. It's like you could have brought him back at any moment, and this is the movie you chose to bring him back. That was upsetting. But anyway, so Rocky Five's in last place. That's number 9. Number 8, I got Rocky Balboa. Now, I don't hate this movie. As a matter of fact, I love Rocky Balboa. I think that perhaps the greatest quote in the Rocky franchise takes place in this movie. Let's see if I could say it without butchering it.
Oh
What's that?
no, I was gonna say the quotes were phenomenal in this movie,
Oh yeah,
especially like if you're looking for inspiration. So good. Continue.
yeah. No, you're good. Yeah, Henry, we got to talk shit about Tommy the Machine Gun. He sucked. A boxer in real life. He died, I believe, of AIDS. Tommy Morrison was his real name. But in Rocky Balboa, you have the one scene where Robert, Rocky's son, and played by former Peter Petrelli from Heroes, and Sylvester Stallone,
Milo, I
Rocky,
think.
Milo
Milo
Yeah,
something.
Ventimiglia.
Milo something. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the reasons Sylvester Stallone hired him is because his mouth is crooked in the same way as Sylvester Stallone.
Mm.
But yeah. So when he's talking to him, and then he tells him, this life is sucks. I mean, I get it. You have to keep moving forward. This, that, the other. And then he says the very quotable line. Let's see if I could say it. It's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how no. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Hmm.
Which is like one of the most memorable quotes in Rocky. Which is this is not anybody's favorite Rocky movie, but that quote has surpassed almost any other quote in the Rocky franchise. Um,
Back when in
And
COVID,
that
when
comes
like
back again in Creed.
in
when
Creed
everybody
Three,
was making
Yeah.
gym videos because they and stuff, they that quote was just going crazy. It's
yeah,
it's one of the most overused like
yeah,
inspirational quotes.
yep. But that was good, and I like the whole. This movie was based off of George Foreman returning to boxing after he had retired, so it was a similar vein in there, and it's all about like when you get older, you want to know if you still have that in you. Granted, we always talk about how the three of us were older every day, but we're not that old yet. But this is something where everybody gets to at a certain point in their lives where it's just like, can I still go? Can I still do what I used to do? Do I still have it in me? And not everybody gets a chance to prove that. And Rocky Balboa fought for that opportunity, and he gets it in the end to prove that, hey, can I still go the distance with the champ? And he can. That's why I think it was such a great movie. And I hated everything with Little Marie. That was weird. Um,
That pissed me off too. I was like, you
Who's
can't
Little
talk
Marie?
to her. She's
Oh,
like, you're cheating on
Screw
Adrian.
you, creepo.
Yo, Adrian.
that was so
Oh man.
weird.
Yeah,
And then
it
It
was
the
was like a
son, her
love
son was
interest, but
like,
it
her
wasn't.
son Steps. Yeah,
her
it
son
should.
was Jamaican, and the
Yeah,
father was Jamaican. He's like, oh, you European or something. I was like, dog.
I could see the big Irish hair. It's like no, it's the other one. But no, it's with this one. Yeah, I feel like they were not. I feel like she wasn't the love interest until the very last second, where they're just like, let's just have them kiss in the movie and just make everything weird. So they did that. But one thing I really enjoyed was the beginning of this movie, where you see Rocky. It's revealed that he does a tour every year, where he goes around where he had his first date with Adrian, and he
Mhm.
goes to all the spots that they hit in Rocky One. And he goes with Paulie, and then they have another great line where he's just like, "Hey, Paul, you remember this? You remember that?" And Paulie's like, "I don't want to do this. Like, you had all the good with her, I had all the bad. I don't want to live through that." And and then
Yeah.
Paulie leaves. So I was like, it's like right off the bat, they just hit you with the emotional stuff. I thought it was great. But anyway, that's Rocky Balboa. And then in seventh place, Creed 3.
Damn.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, I got to say some negative stuff because this is going to be low. Um, I love this movie. I love the entire franchise. I already explained why I enjoy Creed 3 so much. Um, it's funny because people talk about recency bias, putting something at the forefront. It does the opposite for me. You have to win me over. You haven't won me over yet. I've only seen you like once, twice. Maybe you'll get there in the future, but right now you ain't there. You have some great fight scenes. There is no memorable music in this movie. I did not like any of the montages in this movie. I feel like the storytelling was there and the fight was there. Other than that, there wasn't as much that I like in this as I do all the other ones that I'm going to list after this one. But at the end of the day, I still think it's a phenomenal movie. I still recommend it. I still like it very much. All right, so
Especially since the wife is like, or the girl, fiance, wife, whatever they are. Especially she's like a musician. She should have like made something. I don't know. I feel like they could have tied her into like a dope like
well, they
fight back.
explained it. They
Yeah.
did touch on it where they were just like, "Hey, she can't do it anymore." And then at one point, they go to that one. They listen to the one song or whatever,
Mhm.
and it's a song that she wrote for somebody
Yeah.
else. And Dame even tells her, "Is like,
She's a
how do you
producer.
feel?" Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the word I'm looking for. And Dame's like, "How do you feel about having somebody else sing your song?" It's just like because he's in that same boat. So it's like I see where they're like where they went with that.
But in
Yeah,
the second
Bianca.
movie, she comes out singing for him while he
Yeah,
like instead of like him just having a song being played, she's in front of him singing, and he's like in the
she sang
back.
at
Like
his
it
entrance.
was
Yeah,
one of the coolest scenes, like them coming out and shit, and she's
yeah.
part of it. I thought that was amazing.
I always like Bianca.
Yeah.
I've said this before in the Creed franchise. The coolest person is Bianca by far. Like
Yeah.
nobody's more cool than her. Like her music, the way she acts, the way she talks, she's just great. But Killmonger versus Kang the Conqueror. That's right, they're Marvel people. That's the last I'm going to say Marvel for the rest of this episode. Thank you, Henry. But no, no. So I thought this movie was all. It was great. It was a great movie. Maybe in the future I'll rank it higher. Who knows? But as of right now, that's where it is. So number six, Creed.
Mm.
So I love Creed. I really do. Um, it's this is where I really had trouble ranking. Like from here up, I don't know where to put anything. I don't know what to do. And then I realized I need to rank these in the order that I have the most fun watching them. And that's where Creed falls in here. I have a lot of fun watching Creed. I like seeing his banter with Rocky. The whole like, hey, can you, if you're not going to train me, can you write out some exercises? Yeah, sure. I'll write them down, take a picture of it. Don't worry, it's up in the cloud. Which one? I love that stuff.
That was so funny. He's like, "What cloud?" Ooh.
Yeah, I thought that was great. The whole him calling him Unc, and then like I feel like Rocky had a lot of great one-liners in this movie, where it's like Bianca Belair. She's like, "Why didn't you tell me your uncle was Rocky Balboa?" It's like, "Oh, your uncle's white," and Rocky jumps in, "Yeah, all my life." It's like just dumb shit like that. And I thought it was good. I thought it was great. I love the montages in this movie. I love Apollo Creed's my favorite fighter in the franchise. So seeing the son of Apollo is just hits it. The intro is one of the best parts of the movie for me, where you have Felicia Rashad's character meeting Donnie for the first time in the in the detention center. I can't think of the term,
Mm.
and where she's just like, "Hey, I knew your father." Is like, "Really? What was his name?" And then they just cut to the word Creed for the title opener. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it fucking hits." So it's just
Nice.
like it was just overall it was a great movie. My problem with this is pretty Ricky Conlon, boring. Like honestly, like he was there, like he was like, "Hey, I'm going to prison. I got to fight somebody. Oh, let me fight somebody so I can make some money." He might be retiring. We don't know. Then he shows up in Creed 3. But it's all this stuff. The only interaction they have is like right before the fight where he's just talking shit to Creed. He's like, "You're a false Creed." And there's that. And then the Rocky having cancer was it hit. It was emotional, but it was weird. I don't know if that was necessary for the movie. I feel like they were just tacking on at that point. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that thing where it's like Rocky has to fight his one last fight, and it was cancer of all things, the thing that killed his wife.
Mm.
So it's
It was
seeing that.
it was
Go
a
ahead.
cool motivator though.
No, yeah,
If I fight, you fight, and he used it again at
yeah,
the end too. So I thought that was pretty sweet. About
yeah.
involving the cancer at least. I mean,
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's just, it's funny at this point. I'm just like kind of like listing why I don't like this movie as much as I like this other movie. Instead of saying why I don't like them, it's hard for me. But that's where I'm at with Creed. Then after that, we're going Creed 2. So as you can see, recency bias ain't a thing with me. Creed 2, that's number whatever. Where am I at? 5. In terms of like where I'm having fun with these movies, I love the fact that they brought back Drago. I feel like that hit for me. And then it's not only it's like the son of Drago fighting the son of Apollo. It's like my God, that's everything I want as a Rocky fan. Seeing that build up when you see the first time Ivan Drago meets Rocky in this movie, he's in the restaurant and they're talking. He's like, is it really you? And then like they're talking this, that, and the other. Is like, I see you have all these pictures. How come you don't have any pictures of me up there? He's like, no, I don't want to remember that fight. Like, I don't want to have to remember you because he caused so much chaos in Rocky's life. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
made it so that Rocky had to retire. He killed Apollo. He almost ruined his relationship with his wife. Like, all that happened because of Ivan Drago. And now Drago's back in his life, and it's like this surrogate son that he has. It now has to fight the surrogate son of Drago. It's insane. Like, I mean, it was so good. And then you have on Donnie's side where he's like, "Hey, I'm the champ. I'm the best. I'm doing this, that, and the other. Let me fight this guy. He's some nobody from Russia." And he gets beat so bad that he lost all his confidence, just like Rocky did in Rocky 3, where he's just like, "Listen, I don't know if I could come back from this. I don't know if I could do it." He's not speaking to Bianca. He's not speaking to his mom. His baby gets born, and his baby's deaf. And he's just like, his life just sucks. And he's just like, "What do I do?" And then Rocky gives him the one great line where it's just like, "Hey, are you still going to love your daughter even though she's deaf?" He's like, "Yeah, why would you even ask that?" He's like, "All right, then why are you here feeling sorry for her? She's not feeling sorry for herself." And then it's like that kind of like woke it up in him. It's like, "All right, I'm not feeling sorry for myself either." He comes back, he fights, he goes up against Drago, and then you have the perfect finale where it's just like not only is he beating Victor Drago, who's like he was raised by like a dog, who's just like, you do not give up, you do not fight, you do not stay down, and he won't. Like nothing is dropping this man. He's gonna fight literally till the death until his father, the person who was doing the same exact thing, realizes, no, I have to save my son. My son is more important than this, and he saves his son. Drago turns in the end. And he realizes, no, family's more important than winning, I just feel like all around, that's why that's my favorite Creed movie.
It was crazy because Adonis got his ribs broke twice in both matches.
Yeah,
The fact that he was able to push that last couple rounds at the end and overcome Drago blew
yeah.
my mind. I was like, I got a cracked rib, not even
That's
just
it.
a
Just take me
broken
out.
rib, a cracked rib.
I'll throw in my own towel. I'm done.
Just give me some morphine ASAP. But this man was like, nope, I gotta finish this fight. And then on top of that, outlasted Drago and then just whooped his ass. It was crazy.
Yeah, it
That
was
was a
great.
pretty crazy fight.
With this one though, reason why it's, I mean, you can see how much I like it, but it's still low because once again, montage trash. Let's go fight in the desert. Let's put our feet in this tire and hit each other. Like what? Let's, it's like I get with the reasoning behind it that they try to explain it. I was just like, it's just weird. And montages play a big part in the entire Rocky franchise.
He's like, hold
So
up, let me hammer the floor.
yeah, let me just take the sledgehammer, just start hitting the ground. And then you have the whole thing where Rocky's driving in the desert and Adani just has to follow him. Then he falls down. Then he's like, no, wait, I got this, guys. Then he gets up and then that's it. End of montage. So it was just weird. I feel like it could have been better. But anyway, that's Creed 2.
It needed a
Next up,
crop top.
that's really it. Number 4, Rocky 1. I love Rocky 1. One thing I want to mention real quick, I keep telling you guys I have this here. We keep on talking about the dialogue. In this movie, all of the characters say the words in that sequence 138 times. I counted. Of the 138 times, can you guess how many times it was said by Rocky Balboa?
100.
More.
Jesus. 120.
Close. Disco,
125.
you got to guess? No.
126.
Disco, you're muted if you're talking.
I'm gonna say like 120.
All right. 118. It's 118, guys. He says, 118 times in that movie. And I went back, I counted, I downloaded a counting app on my phone. I would rewind, pause. Was that I can't tell. Let me check, turn on the subtitles. Like I was invested in how many times he said. I love this movie. This is the movie that started what could very well be my favorite franchise. The everything where you see him starting off fighting Spider Rico in just this sleazy bar where nobody gives a shit about him. He has to bum a cigarette off of somebody else. Then later on, he's fighting the world heavyweight champion in just a fluke incident. And then you have Apollo, who you not only realize, not only is he the greatest fighter, he's the greatest promoter, where he was able to take Super Fight, which is what they call the fight. The bicentennial of the United States is taking place here. And I'm going to fight the number one contender. Oh, he's hurt. We got to fight somebody else. Everybody's too scared to fight me. Okay, let's spin it. We're in Philadelphia, the home of where, like the birthplace of America. Let's just fight somebody from here. Italian Stallion. That sounds amazing. Let's fight this guy. And the rest is history. So it's just like, I feel like it was well done. You have Rocky, you have Mickey training him who doesn't give a shit about him. He's like, you're just this fuck up. And then Rocky's like, you know what, fine, I'll train by myself. And then Mickey realizes, you know what, this is my meal ticket. Let's be real. Mickey thought this is my meal ticket and let me go from there. And then they build more of a bond and they become more of a father-son relationship there. But it was great. I love Rocky 1. I could watch this at any time. One of the reasons why it ranks so low, the intimate scene between Rocky and Adrian is one of the most awkward moments in cinematic history, and I hate it.
Oh my god, I forgot to mention that too.
Yeah.
It was so off-putting. He just like cornered her in the room. It was just like, you can go if you want, but he's like all creepy.
He literally says, he's like, I'm gonna kiss you. You don't have to kiss me back, but I'm gonna kiss you. Like, oh, dude, no, like, don't say that. Like, it's.
I mean, it was the 70s.
Regardless of what time period, that ain't right. It's awkward.
That was.
It wasn't consent, but at least it was a warning. I think that's more than a lot of other people would give.
I think that was obviously it's not right, but I think it was just the courting process at the time.
No, I guess. But I mean, go ahead.
The fact that it worked, though, that's what blows my mind. At the end, Adrian was just like, I don't know what's happening. And then she just like flopped on him and was like, okay, I'm all for it, though.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the pickings were slim for her. So I think this was, and it's not like Rocky was a bad guy. He's just a fighter and he's kind of just dumb.
But, very dumb. You know why they call him Southpaws?
Oh, God.
But
all the best one-liners,
dude, it's insane. Like this movie, but you have that, and then you have another one of my favorite scenes in the franchise is the night before the fight, where Rocky is talking to Adrian. He can't sleep. He's freaking out. She's like, "What's going on? Are you okay?" And he's like, "I don't. It's not about winning." And that's why I feel like they set it up early on, where it's like he doesn't need to win. That's why he doesn't win in the end. It's okay. This movie wins an Oscar for it and everything. But it's just like it's not about winning. I want to prove that I'm somebody, that I'm not just some bum from the street, that I can actually go the distance with the world heavyweight champion. And it's just like, he goes out there and he does it. And granted, Apollo Creed didn't fully train, and that's one of the reasons why you think like, okay, Creed didn't really train for the fight because he's fighting this nobody. That's why Rocky went so far, and then that sets up Rocky too. But
I one thing I want to put in was one of the scenes when he invited Adrian into his house, and he was just like, "Want to come inside? I have rare animals." I was dying at that pickup line.
not only does is that weird, but she's the one who sold it to him. Like she knows what he has.
Exactly, and he doubled down on it. It's like, I
Yeah.
know you got turtles. Like,
He still owns the Turtles Cuff and Link to this day. Sylvester Stallone, those are his actual
oh
turtles.
man,
Yeah, and Budkiss, the dog, was his dog that basically when he was getting ready to film for before he even sold the rights to Rocky to make the movie, he had to sell his dog to make money for the rent. And then he sold the script for Rocky, and they're like, "Okay, you're gonna do this, at the other." And they gave him the money. First thing he did was get his dog back, and that dog is Butkus, the dog in the movie. But
that's awesome.
yeah, man. So anyway, I love this movie. There's like a lot of stuff. I'm not going to get into it. But obviously one of the greatest beginnings to a franchise ever. Next up, Rocky 2. So I do like Rocky 2 more than Rocky 1, and you guys said some very bad things about Rocky 2, and I feel like all your opinions are wrong. Um, the first half of Rocky 2, it's a little rough. I get it. He's there. He can't read. He can't do commercials. He's dumb. He can't get a job, and he has bad eyesight. I understand all that, but then you see the fire building within Apollo, where he's just like, "Hey, the guy he sold it to also in the movie. I didn't know that. Good shit, Henry." But you see Apollo, where he's just like, "Listen, I hate this. I can't play with my kids. I can't do anything. I'm getting hate mail because Twitter doesn't exist yet, and everybody's just saying." I carried this guy. It was a fixed fight, this, that, and the other. And then you have the world heavyweight champions. It's like, no, fuck that. Rematch. I'm going to fucking prove a point. He's going down in two. And then Rocky's like, listen, I don't want to fight you. I just got married, this, that, and the other. And then Adrian goes into a coma because Rocky eventually decides he's going to fight. She is about to have a baby. And the whole time she's just like, I don't want you to fight. I don't want you to fight. You don't need to do this anymore. I don't want you to get hurt. You almost lost your vision last time. So Rocky half-heartedly trains. He doesn't want to train. She goes into a coma. Rocky stops training. Mickey stops training with him. And then you have one of the most fucking hype moments in any movie franchise or movie period, where Adrian comes out of the coma. Everybody's happy. She tells Rocky, "Hey, come here. Come closer." He's like, "What? Do you need something?" She says, "Yeah. Win." And then you hear the trumpets, boom, and then the training starts, and Rocky's running through the streets with children, and that one kid's trying to catch up to him, but he can't. He probably died somewhere in Philadelphia. And there's just so much greatness happening. And then they just immediately speed right into the fight. Rocky's going all out. He gets his nose broken again. Apollo literally hits him so hard his vision is fixed, and I'm not making that up. That actually happens. And then Rocky just not only does he go the distance, he's the first person to knock out and defeat Apollo Creed, and he becomes the world champion. I feel like just that second half of the movie is better than almost any other Rocky movie there is right there. But because of the first half, that's why I had to rank it a little bit lower. But I love Rocky too. It's phenomenal.
I feel like Rocky 1 and 2 are one. They should just be one giant movie because
Oh yeah.
they pretty much, it's like a two-part saga, and that's why on my list it was 1 and 2 because I felt like they belonged together. But yeah, I just want to say that. You
Yeah.
continue.
I mean, that's why it was 4 and 3 for me. Rocky and then Rocky 2. But
Gotcha.
then, like I said, because we're ranking this on fun, this is where I really have the trouble. What's one and what's two? So for now, I settled for Rocky 3 at number 2. Disco, you went on this whole thing about basically you explain all the reasons why I love Rocky 3. And Rocky 3 a lot of the time is considered my favorite movie because of everything you said. Because of the ridiculousness, because of the stupidness. Literally when they unveil the statue, all you hear is a voice in the audience just start shouting, "Hey woman, hey woman, just like what's he yelling at Adrian like that? Um, it's just so much. The training montage here, arguably the greatest training montage in cinematic history,
Mm.
where he's training with Apollo. It's like, yes, Mickey dying sucks and all this, and then it's like Rocky goes back to the gym. What am I gonna do? I lost the title, this, that, and the other. And then in the darkness, in Mickey's gym, Mighty Mick's gym, Apollo shows up walking out the shadows. Oh, I'm gonna train you now. I'm the guy who's gonna help you do this. And he's like, we're going back to the basics. We're going to California. I'm gonna teach you how to actually box for the first time in your life. You're not gonna use your face as a punching bag. And it's just so good. Like the training montages, all the quotes, there is no tomorrow. Like if you think I'm tough, this chump will kill you. Like there's just so much that comes out of it. And then the joy that they have at the end of their training montage where these two grown, very large, muscular men with crop tops and very short shorts run into the water and start clapping their hands and hugging. You can't top that. That's one of the greatest moments ever. I just love this movie. Like it's just perfect. It's perfect. And then the fight is really not that good. Like the fight in the beginning, the fight in the
Most
end's
of
not that good.
most of the Rocky
No,
fights were not that good.
they're pretty bad. But this one in particular, literally, Mr. T just does that the whole time. And if you're not listening to the, if
And
you're
they
not
were
watching the video podcast, watch what I just did. I almost broke my neck.
they were shoving each other left and right. I was like, that's
Yeah.
not, you can't do that in boxing. It was like more of like just like push, like a whole legitimate shove, not like boxing at all. Like, where's the bob and weave?
Yeah.
Nope.
And not only that, it's like you feel like Apollo put so much time into training Rocky, and then Rocky barely uses any of it. And then in the end, he's just like, I got an idea. I'm gonna get punched a lot.
Oh,
and,
He goes back
and
to
it
his
works.
normal, just
And it
like
works.
human punching bag. I could take more punches than you. Like,
Yeah. And the thing is, at this point, nobody has ever been more deadly or hits harder than Clubber. So it's like, all right, his punches. What's worse, his punches or Rocky enduring the punches? Like, what's stronger, Clubber Lang or Rocky's face? And Rocky's face won. But it's just so much. You have that. You have Thunder Lips. Literally everything that Mr. T says in the entire movie. Every line he says is perfect. Um, like when he wins the title, he's literally on somebody's shoulders and he just puts his hands up and just goes, uh, uh." Like it's so good. I fucking love it. Oh man, so
oh
that's
man, keep
Rocky
fighting,
3.
meatball.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Then Rocky at the end, you ain't so bad. Oh man. Now, and one more thing we didn't mention this entire time. Eye of the Tiger exists because of this movie. Come on. Come on. So we
That
got that.
one of the greatest songs of all time, most
Exactly.
inspiring.
Yeah. And then the montage is one of the main reasons why I put Rocky 4 at number 1, at least for today. Is the montages. They literally have like 3 montages in a row in this movie and I love it.
Is this your number one?
This is my number 1, Rocky 4.
Ah, okay, okay.
So
That's not too bad. We okay. Continue.
yeah, we're pretty similar. But yeah, no, Rocky 4 is as of right now my favorite. Um them killing, yes, hearts on. Yeah, he gets it. But yes, I'm more of a no easy way out guy. And fun fact, since Henry's here in the chat, when I platinumed The Last of Us Part 2, I was doing it live here on twitch.tv/Los Wise Guys. Henry was also there and he was singing No Easy Way Out while I was platinuming, getting the platinum trophy in Last of Us Part 2. One of the greatest moments ever. But
nice.
yeah, man, Rocky 4 is great. Rocky ends the Cold War. You have Apollo coming out of retirement. He's going out and he's fighting it. Yes, thank you, Henry. And Apollo's like he once again makes the same mistake he did in Rocky 1. Oh, this guy's a nobody. I'm not going to train for it. Let me just fight this guy. He's nothing. And literally gets killed. Rocky has the guilt for it. He doesn't throw in the towel. He feels bad. He owns a robot, probably owes a lot of money because of it. And then he gets into an argument with Adrian. Hey, I got to fight this guy. I got to go to Russia. Adrian finds out last minute. Rocky's like, fuck it, I'm going to go in my car and I'm going to think about everything that happened from Rocky 1 up to Rocky 4 to this point in a montage with the greatest song ever made, No Easy Way Out. And it's great. Then they go to Russia and they start playing Hearts on Fire. and he's training and he's doing a great job. Then Adrian shows up and he starts training even harder, and they climb the mountain. Then he goes out there, he fights Drago, and it's just it's perfect. It's just Rocky Four is just phenomenal. And then I mean, I could talk about this movie for days. We've already been on this for way too long, but I love Rocky Four. As of today, it's my number one. That's probably going to change in 15 minutes, but that's where I'm putting it. That's my ranking.
Nice, nice, nice. I I think it's really interesting how we all our perspectives and how we ranked all these movies. This was a fun exercise. Pretty cool. But final thoughts.
I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we did this. Like I said, it's my favorite franchise. I'm not sure if you guys agree or not, but I can't think of any other franchise where I could look at 8 out of 9 of the movies there and say that they're good. I can't say that about any other franchise.
That's pretty true, especially just
Yeah.
finding a franchise that big in general.
Yeah.
But with all of them that good, that's man.
You know what I'm saying? That is, I can't think of any other franchise.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
I
I have to
mean,
look up franchises now because
okay, no, no,
I've
you're
done it.
good.
I've done it.
I mean, you can. The Harry Potters were all pretty good, but
So, yeah, I
they're
don't
all
have
this.
as much of a
Yeah,
much.
I
Nah,
would. I
Henry,
would
because you
say
have
Lord.
three other movies in that franchise that aren't hit in Lord of the Rings.
That's what I was thinking too. That was one of my first thoughts. But then I was like, the
You have
Hobbits
the
were
three
not.
Hobbits.
The
Saw
Hobbits were
doesn't
not.
have any good movies.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, Star Wars, the prequels and the sequels are kind of, people have their opinions
Hmm.
about them. Um, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be hard, but it is what it is. Any other final thoughts?
I I'm glad it's over because man, that was a
That was
lot
intense, huh?
of. I literally took a couple days, 2 days, almost three, just fucking
You
hammering
had like
these
a
out.
year and a half.
I
Like,
know, and I'm the biggest procrastinator, so it's all my fault. But at the same time, it's just man, it was a lot of Rocky and a lot of crappy fighting. I had to endure a lot, but you gotta stay positive. And there was a lot to enjoy about this the series, and so I'm thankful. At least, like Nanny said, it was a good series and not like man, I don't know, Fast 10 or some shit. I would cry if I have to watch all 10 of those movies. I
yeah, Eslam.
For the podcast, I'll do it, but
I mean, I've already watched them. I'm not watching them again. I
I
would just
haven't. I
watch
Could you
haven't.
them.
actually distinguish what happens in each one though?
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're all the same goddamn movie except
If
for
you're
number
gonna do a
five.
if you're gonna do a real ranking, you have to know the differences.
Sure, sure. I mean, I know the
Especially
differences. I remember the stories of
What
each
happens in
one.
6 and 7?
Six is pretty much trying to be five again, but that's when like uh what's his name? The girl comes back from the dead.
Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah. Um yeah, that's when she comes back from the dead. And then like seven is when at the end of six is I think is when Paul dies. And then seven is when I think they have like Han back or some shit like that. But I would have to see the posters
I have no
to
idea.
remember the movies.
I have no
But yeah,
fucking
that's
idea.
besides the point. We're not talking about this right now. We're doing final thoughts so we can end this 2 hour podcast.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
my final thoughts. Um, I did really enjoy this. Watching them all again was fun. I'm not doing this again. Um, if I can rank them again, I'm just not watching them again. Um, but I am looking forward to if they do make a Drago franchise, I'll definitely watch that. And if and when they do, we can come back to the rankings and re-rank them. Um, and if they make a Creed 4 and stuff like that,
I
that'll
mean,
be interesting.
they not officially, but they did say there is a Drago franchise, there is a Creed 4, and they are looking into making more things other than movies. When people asked Michael B.
Okay,
Jordan, what about anime? He was like, oh, I would definitely love to do anime.
that would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this was fun. Maybe we'll find another franchise to do. Who knows? But thank you for watching and listening to the Los Wise Guys podcast. Go like and subscribe. To our YouTube channel, share and comment in the comments below. Let us know your rankings or if you agree with any of our rankings. Um, did you enjoy Creed 3? Let us know your thoughts on that. And go check out our social medias. Hit us up. Go check out the Los Wise Guys website. Go loswiseguys.com. Let's see what Henry just said.
Scream.
Oh, yeah, I'm down to do Scream
I
actually.
would
It's
love
not,
to do a ranking for Scream.
yeah, it's not that bad. I'm not doing Halloween. There's
I've
no way
never
I'm
liked
fucking
the
doing that.
screams.
You don't like Scream?
I've never. I mean, if y'all choose to do it, but I'm just putting it out there. I've never liked the screams. So
I've enjoyed them, but I'm definitely not doing the Halloween movies after seeing that last one.
I mean, the
oh no.
Halloweens are better than the Screams.
After that last one, okay. Thank you for listening to the Little Wise Guys podcast, and have a great week.